This, gosh, I almost want to say this talk has been long overdue. And there's a story behind it. From this stage and many others, I've talked a lot about cellular detox and healing. Would you agree with that? But let's face it. Let's be honest with ourselves here. That we only have an ability to pick up so much of the information. Would you agree with that? I've been accused of talking too much science, maybe. Shane's been accused of that. I've been confused of losing people. I've been accused of confusing people, losing people. Because oftentimes the material is such. You know, I remember my frustration on an airplane. I left a lecture of really bright-minded doctors, and I was so excited. And I was delivering what I knew would change their lives and their patients' lives. And it was all about cellular healing and, you know, this amazing science that I knew that they needed. And I could tell. I've been doing this long enough that I could just tell that they missed it. I missed it, they missed it, a miss. I have this gauge in my head of lives changed, you know, and it is that gauge that sometimes I walk away very frustrated if I feel like I didn't make a difference. That works for me and against me, trust me. And on that moment, it worked very much against me, but in the long run, for me, I was just, what could I have done different? I mean, I was frustrated with myself. I was frustrated with them. I was frustrated with everything. The message, my calling. How am I going to get this out? I think I was pouting to God, to be quite honest. How's that work out? Not so good. Promise you that. But in it, I did pray. And I'm telling you, magic happens on airplanes. Warren just said it this yesterday. And here it came, and that was the 5 R's that became a roadmap to how to fix a cell. In the first component, really, to how we really detox a cell. So, this subject of detox in cellular healing, also, we run into this problem. Okay, I get what you're saying, but then how do I utilize it? You know, and look, I trained doctors for 2 or 3 years, not just in this, but also how to establish a business and how to make an impact in your community with the marketing. And we do all these things, even how to give a talk. It was interesting because when Isaac asked the question, how many of you want to make a difference, change lives? I mean, you know, I think almost every hand went up. Every hand should have went up and would have if everyone was paying attention. However, when asked how many want to make money, I don't know, Isaac, how many did you say?
20%.
Yeah, okay, 20%. You know, I mean, but here's the thing. We realized, when I started this message, I realized that, look, we've got to be successful or we're not going to change the world. So it is a part of what we have to teach. But today is the practical side of changing the world with the knowledge that we have. Today's talk is overdue because I have had several of you come up to me many times and want the simple answer. Meredith will tell you, right, Meredith? I get very aggravated when people want a protocol. Am I right? Because I want to teach you how to fish. I don't want to just keep catching fish. So this has been something that's been on my heart for years and years. So I went out a little over a year ago to California, and I was giving a talk for Billy DeMoss, who is the guy with CalJam, and I don't know if you know what CalJam is, but it is the largest chiropractic seminar going right now. It's huge. I mean, massive. If you haven't been there, go. But I was out there ahead of the actual CalJam doing a talk for him. And Billy got very excited about what I did, but he said, Dan, you just need a simple version. I said, Billy, I've heard this for years. Now, the day before, I was with Gambinos. It's not the mob boss Gambinos, although that is their family. But they are big people in chiropractic and connected. And they said, Dan, been following your stuff. Gosh, she had been to one of my seminars, his wife, Kim, and, they said, you just need a really simple version of this so we can, I know, Kim, I know, but it's impossible. So I'm telling you, this was going on and on. So Billy didn't let it go. It was the next day, and he brought it back up again. I could see his mental struggle. And finally it clicked. I said, wait a minute. It's possible now. And the reason I didn't do it, and Warren will tell you, because he was in these battles with me, because for me, it had to be real. It had to be real. And that was the struggle. Because I know to make it real and actually work, it couldn't be that simple program that people wanted. So that was why it was never created years and years ago, when those things started coming to me, those requests. So some things changed that said, it clicked, and I said, oh my gosh, we can do it. Roy, who coaches me often, and many of you know who he is. He's the guy that kind of lingers around the back. But he always said to me, oh, he's over there now, if you can make it easy and safe, that's the key. You've got to make it easy, Pompa, if you're going to change the world. So those things always ring out. And I add one more thing to it. In my mind, easy and safe will mark it. But it had to be easy, safe, and real, and therefore effective. And that was the sticking point for me. So all of a sudden, I left that California from Billy DeMoss's words, and I started putting it together. I approached Warren very gently, because I bring Warren things, and the first thing is usually because he's got to make things happen. And I didn't get that. Things just lined up where he said, okay, this is time. I think you're right. Boom, boom. And I said, this is the idea, da-da-da-da-da. And before you know it, we're at NBC Studios shooting videos for what is now called the True Cellular Detox program. So it is a simplified version of what we know the world needs. To piggyback on Isaac's experience last night at Vaxxed, I knew I had to go. How many of you have seen Vaxxed? Every one of you need to commit to seeing that film. When we hear this comment that, I know, but it's proven that vaccines do not cause autism. That film blew that out of the water. Because the very study they're all referring to, the numbers were fudged. The CDC director of that study, the director of all the numbers and the logistics, came out, William Thomas, and testified that they fudged the numbers. That in fact, it showed the exact opposite. It showed that vaccines, in fact, the MMR shot is linked to autism. And it goes on. And one of the things that was said twice was this. What we know about these autistic kids is it's almost a detox problem. Because we know that their detox pathways are shutting down at the cellular level and on through. And that's exactly what the problem is. Yeah, and it immediately, this feeling came upon me. Because, you know what God gives you. You know what you're called to. You know your purpose. When I watch the film, it becomes almost overwhelming to me. And I know that you sitting here are also called. And I knew, and Warren and I discussed it immediately after, that we have an answer. We do. And it's not the colon cleanse. It's not the 10-day cleanse, this cleanse, that cleanse. When you listen to the scientists in this area, you realize what is going on, not just with autism, but what's going on with a generation. I'm telling you, it is scary. All of my children's friends are sick. They are all surviving on medication for the next 10, maybe 20, before then they need something else because that's not working. I'm telling you, the bottom's ready to fall out. I mean, if by 2032, 1 in 2 children are going to be on the autism spectrum, imagine. You know, one of the things that, you know, I said it kept irritating me in the film was they kept saying, because this is the truth, that when the kids are vaccinated between age 12 and 18 months, when they want you to give them the CDC's schedule to give the MMR shot, that is when it causes the most damage because the blood-brain barrier, the development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The detox pathways, certain things aren't developed yet. They're right. But here's what they're missing. They're missing the fact that, okay, great, wait till 3 years and we see this massive drop in the incidence of autism. Massive. If we just wait till 3 years old. However, what they're missing is what I see day in, day out. Is what they're missing is now the kid didn't get autism, but now he's in his teens and he's 20, and now he has fatigue, hormone disruption. You get it? So, okay, let's push it out to age 3, and now they're not as many are getting autism, but the problem is now they're still riddled with another chronic disease, thyroid problems, adrenal problems, pituitary problems, hormone problems, you name it, the things that we're seeing day in, day out. So the problem is still not solved. Because kids today are getting sick as kids. Teenagers, forget it. They are so sick. It's unbelievable. In our generation, mine didn't start getting sick until the 30s. So I want to make the argument generationally for what we're seeing and what we're up against. And I hope you feel called to this. And I hope that by the end, you are convinced as I am that we have an answer that nobody has. You know, Shane and I always talk about, we've been talking about this for years, how to change the epigenetics. It was in the literature. There's still a gap. You know, we were ahead of the times on all of this cellular work. But you know what? We're ahead of the times by light years on how to detox a cell. Trust me, we are. The problem has been making it simple enough that everybody can do it. Every one of us can do it. And that's why today's a game changer in this room. When I gave that lecture in CalJam, we had 400 doctors rush the booth. And I'll tell you what, they didn't know what you all know. They just saw the need for what people need. They realized why they're not getting people well today. It is chemical subluxation. It is interference to the nerve system. And they rushed for the answer. Believe me, it wasn't what I said on stage because they give you 25 minutes. There was a need, and I believe God filled it through this program. They just needed to be simple, safe, and real. So we do have an obligation, I believe, to change the world. The world needs changed. And who better than us? Because we've been doing this cellular work longer than anybody. There's no doubt. There's that statistic that we told you about. But you know, one thing that struck me is they said 1 in 2 children, but it was 80% boys by 2032. 80% boys. That is staggering. And I'll tell you what, guess what? The other 20%, learning disabilities, problems later in life, and I promise you just another autoimmune disease. I'm telling you folks, if you don't believe we're headed for that, leave. And if you don't believe that we have an answer that nobody else has, then Niles is leaving. See now? She left. Good. Actually, Niles, you're doing True Cellular Detox very successfully. So I know Niles is not leaving because he doesn't believe it. Someone else said it, you know, maybe it was Isaac as well, but diabetes epidemic or plague, 1 in every 2 children born after the year of 2000. This is my children will have diabetes in his lifetime. That's my children. It's not going to be my children in those statistics or yours, but listen, this is what's coming, right? This is what's coming. 75% of adults over 40 have been diagnosed with at least one chronic disease. So guess what? That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, they might survive autism, the vaccination, but this is what's coming. If right now it's 75%, imagine the statistics, right? 1 in 2 by 2032. Wait a minute, where are we going to be on this statistic by 2032? Where? This is the new normal. Do you understand? It's the new normal. People just think this is the way life is. So they're functioning from one medication to the next. You know, less than a minute from now, this is the 2014 statistics. 1 person will die of cancer every 54 seconds. Right now, one child every 7 minutes is getting the diagnosis of autism. So really that means it's probably 1 in 4 that actually are getting it. So many aren't diagnosed until much later. What's the cause? We know what the cause is. We know what the cause is. And look, we're not going to just pick on vaccinations because you have to understand, they're vaccinating kids who already just got the lead dump from their mother. Their mother has 6 amalgam fillings in her mouth with root canals. We know from studies that that toxin goes from her into the baby, and then they get vaccinated as well. And then there's other factors occurring, like glyphosate, which we're going to talk about. But here's what I want you to understand. The lead epidemic is generational. And you've heard me talk about this because I lived it. It affects 4 generations. Just like sin. Biblically, the Bible talks about sin affecting 4 generations because literally it's in the DNA. When they say, well, alcoholism is genetic. Well, yeah, that gene can be turned on and inherited. Remember when Shane talked about the agouti mice, he said that's inherited to the next generation. So alcoholism, this sin, that sin can be inherited. Well, guess what? Lead turns on bad genes that get inherited 4 generations. But we also know that it takes 4 generations to breed it out. So in other words, Mom, if you had not 1 exposure to lead, you just came with what your mom gave you. Your children had not 1 exposure to lead. Guess what? They're born with your lead. Their children are born with that lead, and the children are born with that lead without any additional exposures. It affects 4 generations. So when we look what's going on, that was my wife's test. That was her lead off the chart. Hormone disruption. You know that story, most of you anyway. But my wife had major hormone issues, things that weren't clearing up. That lead level went right into my children. That was one of my son's tests, but they all had high lead. They got it from her. That's the generational curse. Well, look what's going on in America. When I saw the Flint crisis, first thing I said, wait till they test Pennsylvania waters. I promise you it's worse. Why? Because I tested many hundreds of people in Pennsylvania to know that there's a major lead issue. And I also said, ironically enough, oh boy, wait till they test the California waters. Because we have many doctors that send me their tests from California and we see ridiculous lead levels. There's some headlines. There's one from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Higher lead exposure than Flint. The other one, California schools. Several places in California, higher lead levels in Flint. They made Flint seem like it was the exception when really it's the rule because all of these pipes here, and by the way, this is what happened in Flint, they're loaded. This nasty stuff that you see in here is loaded with lead and other contaminants. And what happens is, well, what happened in Flint was they put some acid water through there and it ate it away and it went right into the people's drinking water. So really, it was this that was the culprit. And by the way, this is the culprit in many of us because this is in what's in many homes. And ironically enough, is the group that I was with, one of the things they were doing was in the homes, they would find extremely high levels from this faucet and just high or moderate levels from this one. So it all had to do with the pipes. But this is a massive epidemic. And when I was speaking at CalGem, I showed this picture, and I don't know that I could ever give this talk without it because we talk about like why, finding our why. And that is massively my why. This is, you just saw her lead levels. Not her lead levels, she's fine. But this one, for these people over here, so we're not talking about her lead levels, but we're talking about her lead levels that went into Daniel, my oldest, Isaac, I think that was Isaac's test you saw there. This one we called the Banshee. He just screamed, and just was chronically ill. This one had such bad diarrhea, GI issues all the time, couldn't figure out why. And I always say this one we'll get to at another later date. Another lead story, we'll just say that. But these guys, right now, these two right here are detoxing as we speak. I know that because I was looking for the stuff that I needed, and they took it. But they do their own detox now. But when they were babies, they went through years of detox. I learned a lot from this experience with my wife, but I learned a lot here as well. Because one thing that happens with a lot of these toxins, and in this case we're talking about lead, is later they come out again. So what happened is my son Daniel got a ski scholarship and he got injured, but it was not like he got injured on the slope. He had this injury that wasn't clearing up. We brought him to every specialist, the best. Dr. Bueller here, I mean, you name it. We brought my son there. And it just wasn't healing. And it clicked. Oh my God, he's going through puberty. Lead remodel, the bone remodels, lead comes out of the bone at puberty. Sure enough, we did another test, lead was back out. He started detox again. Guess what? Injury went away. Lesson there. Same thing happened to my wife, right? She was, we detoxed her. All of a sudden, perimenopause starts happening. What happens at that time again? Estrogen adjusts, bone adjusts, lead came out. So had to deal with it again. Guess what happens when we start reaching 70s and 80s? You start losing a lot of bone, and seniors are losing their brains because of the same problem. See, detox isn't the colon cleanse. Detox isn't as easy as just, hey, here's this 10-day cleanse. We've got to go deep, and we've got to do it correctly. Then we get these guys on the end here. These are the twins that changed my life forever and always will. Olivia now is in Spain. Dylan is in Florida starting school in the fall. And Dylan was vaccine damaged. Age 2, age 4 put him over the edge on the autism spectrum. So I always say he was my second patient. Olivia, because of estrogen's effect that it has in a positive way of protecting girls, that's why 4-to-1 boys to girls on autism. But what happened was unique. Guess what happened? Her toxins started moving out when she started going through puberty. And she became this toxic teenager with sensory integration. Elevated pain, elevated touch, elevated taste. So all of a sudden then she starts getting sick, and now she is a true Cellular Detox fan. Texts me all the time, doing her detox. So, it was amazing because I did a cellular healing TV show. And I went down, all of a sudden I had realized that every one of us has been through it. Every one of us. And it was just remarkable to see, my gosh, it's like imagine if these kids were vaccinated. Well, these guys were. Thank God these guys were never, because they would have been right on the same spectrum as this guy, if not worse. Then just dealing with what I started. Remember, I started with me to help them. From pain to purpose, right? That picture says it all. And I'm going to make sure that's framed on my wall because, like I said, I can't even give this talk without anchoring to where, and it just struck me. Oh my gosh, it wasn't just me. And then you add Warren to that. Warren came after we go, well, he comes into my life sick. It's like, there's a laugh back there. Yeah, because you were around some of those times. But yeah, Warren comes in sick. Again, it was from pain to purpose. So this is where it started with me, right? Of course I was vaccinated, not nearly the schedule that was happening today. But I remember getting a tetanus shot. When I was in chiropractic school, I got bit by a dog, and they convinced me to do it. I ended up getting lockjaw, and I was in bed for like 3 days. Yep, absolutely. So that was my showing my body was already full. So that didn't go well. That's interesting. And then after that, I had some things happen that were very unusual. Of course, I'm still have my mouth full of amalgams. Oh, and by the way, I used contact lens fluid. If you look in the picture, that was the #1 adult source of mercury. They had thimerosal in it, and we're putting it right in our eyes, which studies show went right into our brains, pituitary hypothalamus. Oh yeah, that's exactly where the mercury from the fillings vaporizes to. And did I mention that my father loved methylate? Methylate was mercury. It was basically, that's why it worked so darn well. It killed everything. Smothered me in the stuff. He didn't know. But anyway, so this is where I started, my journey. Heavy metals we know and in this case, talking about mercury now, but it massively drives brain inflammation. It triggers genes associated not just with Alzheimer's and dementia, but we're seeing that in massive epidemics. Kills bacteria, the neurotransmitters we need for our brains to work. It disrupts and this is Seneff's work from MIT, it disrupts the cholesterol sulfate that our brains and nerve systems need. I mean, the list goes on and on. I just, like I said, there's just 4 reasons. Mercury is the major cause of these brain conditions that we're seeing. Autism. Let's talk about dementia, because it's really just more of an adult autism. It's brain damage. It's nerve damage. It's driving interference into the nerve system. So yes, we're seeing this happening in kids today. 40s, are you kidding me? Just in the last 5 years, we've now are identifying and diagnosing dementia in 40-year-olds, but it really is happening in teenagers. Hugh Fudenberg is the most quoted immunologist of our time, 13th most quoted of all time, 850 papers in peer-reviewed journals. So the guy, I think he knows a little bit about the immune system, what's going on. Would you agree? One of the studies, 5 consecutive flu shots in a 10-year period, 10-fold increase in Alzheimer's disease. You know what? It wasn't many years before that the same study, very similar, not the same study, but a similar study showed flu shots driving Parkinson's at a 10-fold increase. So I don't care if it's autism, I don't care if it's Parkinson's, dementia, or Alzheimer's. Do you get what's happening? Do you get it? This is the problem. Do you think a colon cleanse is going to fix this? Do you think the 10-day cleanse that most doctors have on their shelf is going to fix this? Do you? No. No, we've all done that, I think. Love coffee enemas, but it's not going to fix this. It could help the process. Far infrared sauna, help the process, but it's not the answer to what's going on here, folks. This is the fastest growing disease. 30 million global. Alzheimer's, #1 concern over the people age of 60. It's going to be the #1 concern over people age of 40 soon. Well, there's a new problem. This is a new problem. This is a new problem for a new generation. Because when we look at this, and there's many of these from Nancy Swanson, who blessed us with these graphs showing the correlation of not just dementia, but even diabetes, autism. Go down the list, and there's another connection, and it's glyphosate. Glyphosate is a new generation problem. So you have to understand, we are in the lead generation. We are also in the mercury generation. Do you understand? So we were the ones with the amalgam fillings. We were the first to really get overly vaccinated. Kids today are still in the lead generation. It's 4, right? 4 generations. Follow me. They also are in the mercury generation. They got our silver. They got our mercury. So they're still in the mercury generation. And of course they are, because of vaccinations. Ethyl mercury, the one that goes right into the brain. Remember the studies where they showed and they were injecting people? They said, look, the ethyl mercury is better because it's so easily washed out of the body. And unfortunately, they were wrong. They started doing autopsies on the monkeys and realized all the ethyl mercury was in the brain, driving the inflammation. So yes, lead generation, mercury generation, but these kids have something that we didn't have, and that's glyphosate. Sprayed on every bit of our food supply. Even organic crops get some spray. There was the article that all the wines, right, there's still, even organic wines have some, but not nearly as much as the other wines that have all this glyphosate. Every beer now, they're saying, has glyphosate. Every food, it's in the rain, 60% of the rain, they're finding glyphosate. Why is it so significant? Well, many reasons. Number 1, it destroys the bacteria for this brain to work. Number 2, we know it causes massive leaky gut, which drives autoimmune and other conditions. And number 3, it allows mercury and lead to go deeper into the tissue. So it literally is an escort for heavy metals to go deeper into the brain. You'll hear me say this again and again. If you are not detoxing the brain, that deep tissue, you are not going to make a difference in these conditions today. Do you understand that? The goal with detox is always to get to what I call a brain phase. Look at the food supply. It's GMOs have 10, 20 times the amount of the chemical. This is what our kids, maybe not our kids, but this is what America's eating right here. Every bit of it is loaded with glyphosate. I don't tell you. You look at the statistics with the acceleration of all these diseases and autoimmune. I don't know how we're going to keep up. We need millions and millions of us with the answer that we have. Poisoning our children right from the very beginning. Glyphosate is in all of these soy-based formulas, corn-based formulas. That's all they are. What about vaccines? And that's what I was quoting you from that very study right here. Glyphosate makes both mercury and aluminum more toxic, and lead as well. So this is the poisoning of an entire generation, no doubt about it. This is what we're up against. Our buckets are overflowing, and these are the symptoms that we're seeing, especially in children. These are the 3 evil amigos that I like to say. These guys are the ones that shut down our detox pathways. These are the guys that allow all of the other toxins from our products that we're putting in our body and the food and the plastics to just start accumulating in our tissue, because these guys are so toxic that they shut down our detox pathways massively. When you add glyphosate to that, we've got a big problem. When we looked at 2 tests that we thought were very accurate and simple to do. Heavy metal detox is not easy. There's no perfect test unless we're biopsying the brain, because that's where it is. So these are the 2 tests that we utilize in the True Cellular Detox program in every office. Number 1, we know the meta-oxy shows cellular inflammation. Number 2, this test right here is a simple test that we can all do in our clinic to get an idea of the level of toxicity in a patient. There's certain rows that represent even certain toxins, but row E on there is just general toxicity. Your heavy metal people get crushed. They can't even see that row. So it's just 2 simple tests. And in this program, we're going to add some tests. We're even adding a genetic component to it. We do even have a blood work component that we look at the 5 major blood tests that show cause and inflammation. That's also an add-on to the True Cellular Detox. So what is the answer? It is. I said it had to be real. Real detox is the answer. And I talked a lot, and you hear me talk a lot about some of those things, and I'm very critical. You've heard me talk a lot about chlorella because it's a very loose bind. It's a very weak bind. It's not considered a true binder, or in the medical world, a true chelator. It's not. So it tends to stir things up more than it does pull it out of the body. There's many of the things up there that we all use. Glutathione is amazing. You hear me talk all about it. However, when it comes to heavy metals and biotoxins, it just tends to stir it up. It is part of our True Cellular Detox protocol because we have to raise intracellular glutathione, but in itself, it's not enough. So we know, and we've used for years, these different chelators like DMPS or DMSA, but they're very hard to use. And in an IV, they become very toxic because it pulls a lot out and all of this metal redistributes. So we had to give them orally every 4 hours. But that's what a true binder worked. Those things are, in fact, true binders. Alpha-lipoic acid is a true binder that we use to go deep into the tissue because it's fat soluble. But until the advent of something called cytodetox, which you all have heard of, we weren't able to give it except every 4 hours without people getting too many symptoms. Now people are able to take alpha-lipoic acid less frequently because cytodetox stays around so well, unlike DMSA, and therefore it reduces the symptoms when given with the cytodetox. See, so some things lined up that we're able to take what we've been doing for years and getting very, very sick people well. It's how I got my life back. I got the toxins out of here. It's how Warren got his life back. And we were able to make things more simple that we all could use it and do it. So let's look at some of these things. When I talk about true cellular detox. It's very simple. It really is 3 components that make up true cellular detox. Because people say, well, what do you mean when you say true cellular detox? So number 1, you hear me say this all the time. To get well, you have to fix the what? More specifically, to get well, we have to detox what? The cell, or the brain, even better. You're ahead of me. Perfect. We'll draw that over here because that's where we're going. So, better draw it in. Okay. We have to get to the cell to get well, right? So, when we look at the 3 components to detox, very simply put, the 5 R's I said in the beginning of this talk is the roadmap to not just fixing the cell, but detoxing the cell. You know, when you talk to scientists about detox, they get it. You know, they get it. You know, they get the fact that, no, real detox is getting the cell to do what it was meant to do. You know, in the Vaxxed movie, they got the fact that the cells are shutting down. The vaccines are damaging the cells. And what's happening is now the cells aren't replicating normal cells. I saw this put this way, and I think it's the best illustration. It wasn't mine. But what happens is this. Let's say, hypothetically, which isn't the case today, but let's say you're born at a 10. Okay? Let me flip a new page. Let's say you're born at a 10 as far as cell health. Okay? Then you get some toxins, you get affected by your mothers. Let's say you're down to a 7. Now listen, when you're a baby, if you remain at a 10, 10 cells duplicate what? 10 cells, right? So 10s become 10s. Those 10s become 10s. However, we get shocked with vaccinations and different things. Now we're down to a 7. 7s duplicate what? And now all of a sudden, it's this toxin, that toxin, amalgam fillings, another vaccination, and you're down to a 3. 3s duplicate what? Yeah, so now 3s become 3s, and now all of a sudden, your whole life's a 3. Seriously. That's simple as it put. It just duplicates cells, bad cells, bad cells, bad cells. So when I'm teaching on things I love like fasting and intermittent fasting and stressing the body and duplicate, see what we're doing is we're forcing cells, the bad ones, to disappear. And we're keeping the better ones. So then it does take time, though, because we want those cells to start duplicating. So that's why one fast never gets people well. And detox the same way. As we start to detox these cells, now they start functioning better, and now we start duplicating 6s and then 7s. You see how that works? It's really cool. But the point is 3 components to detox, and 5 R's is a roadmap to fixing what is broke. If the scientists in the Vax movie, if you let them go down that road of what's going on and why the kids are sick and what's happening to their brains, they would basically give you a lecture on the methylation pathway, which is R5. They would give you a lecture on the mitochondrial membrane and how it's oxidizing and all these things are happening. And you can't produce enough ATP and the brain can't work and the nerves. This is what would happen. They would talk about the 5 R's. Remember, that was given to me on an airplane as a simple way to communicate what we need to fix as doctors to get people well today. You know what happened? The public picked it up. They did. They watched my videos. A few videos went out and they said, that's what's wrong with me. They read enough to know that's the problem. To this day, the number 1 calls that we get in are because people see a video of me describing that cell. The 5 R's is the key to detoxing the cell. If you do not upregulate the cell function, none of it matters. None of your colon cleanses matter. Parasite cleanse, this cleanse, that cleanse, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless we get the cell doing what it does. That's the key to detox. I want to jump up and down because this is what everyone's missing. Every cell, everything, whether it's this company's 10-day cleanse, and I see them all because when I walk in chiropractic office, there they are, and it's their poopers. That's it. They're poopers. They make people poop, and they go, I feel better. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, by the way. I'm not. Do you understand? It is a good thing. Matter of fact, the poopers, we can use them too, because if we back up there, we got a train wreck, as Warren would call it. Warren would get backed up like a train wreck, and he needed a pooper, trust me. So the point is, though, is I'm not being critical in a negative way of any of those detoxes. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter unless we fix the cell. Does that make sense? The second component is we have to open up pathways. Now we can talk about some of these things, right? Like, what are we going to do for the liver, right? What are we going to do for the liver? That was a bad one. That was a kidney. That's actually a good kidney. I'm going to roll with a kidney on that. We're going to keep that as the kidney, and I'm going to draw a new liver. All right. There's a gallbladder on that liver. Imagine 2 kidneys. I can draw lymph. We still don't know how to draw lymph, but we're drawing lymph that way from now on. We can draw skin. We have no idea how to draw skin. That's another kidney. Now we have 2 kidneys. You get my point. You know what I love about that? Because they're like, man, if he can do it, and he's that bad, surely I can do that even better. And I've seen videos. You guys doing it way better than me, by the way. So anyways, these detox pathways, and of course I have to draw my famous snake. Okay, this is bad. We need help a brother out. Somebody bring me a new crayon. All right. There's the intestines. Okay. Part of true cellular detox is getting those pathways open. And look, these pathways and these pathways have to be open. Would you agree with that? Yes. Now that's where a coffee enema could be effective. This is where, no doubt L-liver, no doubt a colon cleanse could be effective. No doubt I need something for my hands. I'm doing this. I'm too rough on it. Now they're not going to see this. This might not be dark enough. All right. It's going to be fun to have 2 colors. All right, so if we can get the toxins moving out through these pathways and out of the body, that's key, right? Shane made the point, right? So we do have some sticking points. That's why the first step is a prep phase, because we want to get this stuff working good enough to start this. But I will say this, you can do all the prep you want, but unless we get to the cell and get it moving from the cell, we're dead in the water. So that's the key. The third component. Can you see that? Okay, you can put them right there. Yeah, if I need a darker one. Okay. All right. You tell me if you can't see it, because then I'll pick up one of those darker ones. Okay. So if the third component is missed, we've got problems. That's the area of the true binder. This is where people go wrong. So when we get this cell working, the toxins start to come out. But many of them find their way in other tissues. Do you understand that? Make sense so far? So this is where we've needed the DMSA that is water soluble but has this true thiol group that grabs on and doesn't let go and pulls them out. This is where we needed these true binders like DMPS, but very hard to use. But now we have the one that's easier, which utilizes a cage with an ion exchange, Cytodetox, which is a particle that they've used for hundreds and hundreds of years in the environment because it is a binder that doesn't let go of multiple different toxins, even glyphosate. They use it for those spills. The problem has been getting it small enough to interact with this membrane, cross the membrane, and more importantly, even cross into the brain. So, but here's the thing, detox, you need these true binders to make sure things are escorted out of the body. And that's been the problem. Because you can't just get the cell functioning and keep these open. It's not that easy. We know that for heavy metals and biotoxins, we need these true binders that grab and don't let go. And that's where the magic is. And again, this is one of the breakthroughs that allowed us to go here. And by the time we get to what we call a brain phase, now we use fat-soluble stuff that goes into the brain and gets caught up in these true binders and brought completely out of the body. And by the way, bind. Bind is a true binder. Bind has multiple different binding agents that bind multiple different types of toxins, organics and inorganics. And it doesn't let go. And it's big enough that it doesn't leave the gut. Why? Because when we bring this stuff to the liver and the liver dumps the toxins into the gut, most of them get brought right back into the body, right back into the liver. That's where bind comes in. So we're using true binders in the gut, but we're using true binders in and about the body, in the cell. Therefore, we're making sure everything goes out. That system, I've been teaching for years. It's just more simple now. All right. So now we understand for the new people what it is. We talked about true binders. I just make mention of that right there. That ironically enough, is this particular particle had to be proven that the molecular weight was small enough, light enough to actually go into a cell. And it is mostly molecular weight in somewhat size. But when it is a molecular weight between 400 and 500 Daltons, it is able to cross into the brain. And we know that we have a product that now has been proven to cross into the brain. And of course, there are 3 phases. The prep phase is what we have to prepare the cell and downstream detox pathways. The body phase, simple as this, guys. The body phase's purpose is very simple. We're trying to clear out the body to set up a concentration gradient to go deeper into the deep tissue, whether it be the brain, the nerve tissue, the bone, because that's where the magic has to happen. So the body phase is all it is an avenue to set up concentration gradient, to clear all of this chaos so we can get to here. If we can get to here, that's where the magic happens. That's how I got my life back. That's how the autistic world will get their lives back. So that's the magic. So when we look at it in those phases, we must cross the blood-brain barrier. We must get to the pituitary hypothalamus. We have to get to that deep. Now, you saw the prep phase. Now you see the context. I'm going to bring Warren up in a minute because I'm actually going to show you what we developed in the portal. Prep phase is made up of both membrane products. This one, Vista 1, really deals more with, Vista 1 deals more with the mitochondrial membrane. Vista 2 deals more with the outer cell membrane. So every mitochondria in the cell has a very, very fragile membrane that's really more important, I believe, to why people don't feel well even in the outer cell membrane. But we want to get them both prepared, so that's why you see that. The liver, the kidney, the gut are number 3. Cell energy, vital in the beginning. Methylation, vital in the beginning. So here's the body phase, excuse me. Can someone bring me a water? I got a tickle. Oh, here's one. The body phase, we keep the mitochondrial membrane supported. We keep the energy supported, the methylation. Now we add the G cell and the bind. What does G cell and bind do? G cell raises intracellular glutathione, which is part of this detox process, which starts to move the toxins out, where they get caught by this true binder called cytodetox, where then they get brought down to the liver, where they meet bind eventually, because the liver will dump it into the gut, where bind grabs it so it doesn't auto-intoxicate. See how that works? It starts here, goes here, and out. So the body phase, we're still cleaning up a lot of what's in the body. Now, something magical happens in the brain phase. Let's look. Whoops. The brain phase. We add something called alpha-lipoic acid. Now, Shane and I developed a new product called Brain DTX, so brain detox, basically. You'll see that. We added some things to ALA to make it even more effective and to make it go into the brain even deeper. So you'll see this new product that I've been trying to do for quite some time, and we did it for this. So that product is actually in this formula. So in the brain phase that you get, it actually has that product and not just ALA. So it's more than just ALA. However, why has ALA been used as this brain cleanser for so many years? The problem is we had to give it every 3 or 4 hours, because it's it causes a lot of redistribution. It gets brought into the body very deeply, and it goes away and things recirculate. However, when we match it with Cyto, now we're able to give it very few times a day. So even twice a day, we're getting people who aren't getting symptoms. So magic happened. So in this phase, though, ALA is fat soluble, and it does go in deep into the brain. That's been proven time in and time again as a major brain chelator, but by itself, it does cause a lot of symptoms. So therefore, we have to match it within this system. You see, the system is where the magic is with true cellular detox. Cellular vitality, guys, all that is for people to keep their cells well, to deal with the influx of toxins that no matter how good we are, how well we eat, we're still going to get. That basically is the stuff that I take day in, day out. I lost it. There it is. That's the stuff that I take day in, day out to keep my cells well, to deal with the insult. Now the brain phase, I have to go back. I educate them within this system that most people need multiple brain phases. I did it for 4 years, on and off, on cycle, off cycle, on cycle, off cycle. 4 years. So most people will get that education and get that fact. In between brain phases, if they take a break, or if they feel, hey, I'm done, that's what the cellular vitality phase is for. So Warren, come on up here, and I want to bring them right into the portal. We have about 30 minutes left to do that.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, what am I doing?
Yeah. I want to show them the portal and describe what this is. So here's the deal. I just talked a lot of information about what cell detox. 3 components, 3 phases, right? And it happens in 3 months is the base. 3 components, 3 phases in 3 months. That's the way the program's set up. Now, once they get educated, they realize, hey, I want to do more brain phases. I want to do some of this, I want to do a cellular vitality phase. So, but it had to be as simple as 3 components to what it is, why it's different, 3 phases that we all have used for years, and be a short enough time that people can get their head around it. Okay, so the education portion was key to this, because without that, forget it. So I did these videos, like I said, in NBC studios, very professionally done, and I educate the person for you. That's the key.
Let's start with the doctor portal, and then go to the patient.
Okay.
So let's do it. Tyson's going to try to run it for me. So there is, who's that good-looking guy? Oh, that's me. So we do it a step-by-step process. And again, this is, just to be honest with you, this is not something that was just brand new. The idea for this, the website, TrueCellularDetox.com, was bought over 8 years ago. So this has been in our hearts for a very long time.
It's true.
And I just talked to one of our doctors today, and we're all about congruency, right? There's different levels. Everyone's different. We all have different experiences in life, and we've been through different things. But for us, because we got sick, we could never offer the turnkey weight loss program to our practitioners, or whatever that would be. It just, it makes money, it's fun, and it helps people, and it's better, and you can justify it anyway. Inside of us, we just can't justify something like that because it's not going to make the difference that we know that someone needs. I mean, I even have a doctor. It's like, I don't know if I want to offer them true cell detox if they have autoimmune. They need to talk to you. And it's not really meant for the autoimmune patient, possibly, but it's just that congruency. And that's why we're so excited about finally having this to offer you. Is we can. The timing was right. It took a lot of time, and the machine that Shane had. I was going to ask him what packets. I called him up. He says, "Oh, I just got that in today."
No, I mean, actually
come
my
on.
conversation.
I mean, if that's not the universe or God or whatever you believe, then we should all just get up and leave. I mean, what are the chances of that happening? It's not by chance. When you watch the movie Vax last night and go, oh, by the way, we have a true answer for these kids. I talked to Jay and I was in tears. I was like, Jay, I just feel like a bum. Like I was in tears. I'm just like, because I'm too freaking selfish to put my life on the line to go and stand up, and put down vaccinations, because they'll smash you. It could ruin my life. That's not my calling. But my calling, your calling, our calling is to remove the interference and let the body do the healing. That's our calling. Maybe we can't fix vaccinations right now. Maybe that's not your calling. If it is your calling, get out there. You got to donate to those causes. You got to call your senators and make a difference, because it's going to affect our lives. It's going to affect our children. I got little girls, so it means a lot to me. I love my little girls. And I would jump in a train. I would literally lay my life down. I would die. I would lay on train tracks rather than my daughter having a vaccination. If someone gave me the option, no vaccines for your daughter, your death, I'd be like, my death. No question. Yep. So we can remove the interference. We finally have a program that's congruent. So I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. This is something that's real and makes a difference. And this program...
So this is the doctor portal right here.
Is the doctor portal. Sorry, I had to go off.
So this educates you and your staff just about everything. I mean, you can see it. I don't know if you can read it from back there, but in-office testing, how to do it. Set up account. Here's how to set up your accounts, right?
Go click on the in-office testing.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is live. I thought it was a picture.
So how to use the VCS unit. How many people know the VCS unit? The
visual contrast?
Yep.
Sensitivity.
So we teach you how to use that.
Yeah, and then look, how to order a VCS.
Why don't you click on...
how to use the meta-oxy.
Click on how to use the VCS real fast. So there's the video.
Hilarious.
And I'm a pirate. Do you see I'm a pirate? Download the PDF, all the instructions on what to do. Everything's laid out step by step in video and in instructions. And you know, some of the doctors are doing it. How long did it take you to get through the doctor training portal? A couple hours to several hours. So is it really easy to follow? Yeah. So
the mistake some of people have been having is they just get their box and they go, oh, the instruction, you know, it's like they don't, you know, it's like the kid that gets the toy and they just throw the directions aside and they're like, how do I do this?
It's been really thought through. So teach you how to set up the accounts, systemic formulas, of course. Now this program is not systemic formulas. This is HCS seminars. All of our platinum doctors get it as part of their membership as a platinum. We have some just straight up TCD doctors here. Just straight up TCD, not non-platinums, a few that are here because of this program, right? Yeah, so it's awesome. It's already making a difference, right? Getting some more soldiers doing true cellular detox. How to set up your accounts, obviously systemic formulas. The meta-oxy test is systemic formulas. In-office implementation, click on that for us real quick. In-office implementation, right up center underneath, right off, Dr. Pompa pointed at it. Yeah. Yep. So implementation guide, go ahead and click on that. So we walk through each program access instructions. This walks through every single client, what the client needs to do. Client purchased the True Cellular Detox program, now what? The next one, section 2, True Cellular Detox. Whoa, a little bit too fast. True Cellular Detox, in-office implementation, appointment 1, appointment 2, appointment 3, appointment 4. We walk you through everything you need to say and do, the value you need. I mean, it's very, very simple. The whole program. Has someone actually done appointment 1? How long did it take you? It should take you like 10 minutes. About that. I mean, it's a program just launched.
Go back down, or up, I should say.
Okay, go back up.
Yeah, and down a little bit. I wanted to show something. There's the marketing. So, you know, this is how to use the marketing materials actually that come with the program.
Definitely click on that.
How to charge. Here's how to charge. So you can go on the marketing. Is that it?
Yeah, so let's read the marketing real fast. How to convert clients into true cellular, your current clients, whether it be from whatever modality you're using. This is for chiropractors. Mostly this is designed, any practitioner can use this, so you don't have to be a chiropractor to use it, but it does have a lot of the chiropractic philosophy and the chiropractic message in it, because that's what it was mainly designed for, but we have many just health coaches, naturopaths using this program as well. We eventually will adapt one that I don't even ever want to remove the chiropractic language. There's going to be some chiropractic in all of it, but a little less chiropractic-y, but this is a little bit chiropractic. And marketing, so how to convert True Cellular Detox client into chiropractic, using it as a lead-in, how to use the marketing materials, how to order additional marketing, all the way through the waiting room. We have videos that we give you when you buy this program. We give you videos you can plug into your TV or on your computer, or through you could burn it to a DVD, and you play these professionally shot videos and text messaging reminders so that they can get the video and bring it home. It's all, what is the term that Nicole used?
Automated?
No, it is automated, but for the new stuff, like when the new school, it's all new school, using all new school texting, text response, even international. If you're international, we have, if they text, they get the videos. You'll see a little bit of that in my marketing talk tomorrow. We have posters that we put in your office. Text weight loss to 44222. That'll send them a video. So we have big posters you get for in your office. So we did it as, again, to produce these materials. That's easy for us to do at what we're doing at the level of our clinic, but that's hard. It's hard to think about, like setting up an automated. Who knows how to set up an automated text in here? David and Isaac. So we did it for you. right? And it's very important because right now, I'm getting into my marketing talk, 50% of people use their mobile devices to check their emails, and 90% watch the videos.
Yeah, well, we got to move on, but that's a whole talk tomorrow because y'all are missing that. To reach the world, this is the key, right? And you have to know how to get people there. Well, when they come in your office and go, oh, yeah, I'm in pain, that's a major pain, or yeah, I have brain fog or can't sleep. There's a video, and they text themselves the video. Boom, that's simple. Now they're watching the video that I'm selling the program for you. It's so easy. It's unbelievable. But anyway.
That was the point.
All right.
So jump back on there.
But anyway, so let's go to how to charge. That's how to charge. That's how to earn. That's huge, right? Implementing with chiropractic. Resources. So you can see it's all there for the practitioner side. So
5 hours. Now, one thing I want to show you that makes this is even more powerful, all the way up top right. All the way up, top right. Practitioner forum. Top right in orange, right there. Click on that. Lifeline, where you can ask, questions are answered within what? A lot of the times they're answering on weekends, but not supposed to do that. Staff, they're so on fire for this. Mark and Andrea, Meredith, we answer these things. We actually have five our staff working on TCD, 2 of which are full-time. But we have 5 of our staff that are accessing this every day. Dr. Pompa gets questions and answers. You got to sign into views. Do you have a Gmail account? Anyway, it's live. You don't have to do that. But it's live and it's working and it's amazing. And if you're having trouble getting logged in, that you're technologically challenged, we have 2 full-time staff that'll literally get on the phone with you and walk you through the setup and get you started. So if you haven't started yet and you have the TCD program, one of my staff will literally get on the phone and do a consultation and get you started. So we've removed every possibility of you not being able to implement this in your practice because it means that much to the world. It really does.
Let's go to the patient side.
Patient portal. We got 15.
So that's for the doctors. The patient doesn't see that. That's to educate you and your staff. This is what they get. The moment they log in, they see this. There's a welcome video, of course, instructional video. Remember, everything that's in video is also in writing, because some people are readers, some people are watchers, most people today are watchers. And then we have the watch taking the supplements. So, everything is right here, okay? Now, this is really the heart of the program. And to get through this, by the way, it's about 20 minutes a day for a week. Now, that wouldn't include the advanced strategies. So in this, we give 3 exchanges that everybody needs to make in their diet. This will downregulate inflammation to make the detox work that much better. However, the advanced strategy portion is what I do. This is how I live my life. You've heard me talk about intermittent fasting, and you've heard me talk about ketosis and all these things. Well, this in itself is worth the program, trust me. There is a lot of gems here. And then here is the heart. What is True Cellular Detox? How True Cellular Detox works, the 3 exchange diet, emotional detox, cellular vitality. I educate them why keeping the cells well. So we do all of this for you. And then testing. We're building the value in the testing for them. So there's the VCS, the Meta-Oxy. Here's the neurotoxic questionnaire that they fill out before and obviously after. Advanced testing. So the ketosis testing, I teach them how to do that. If they choose to do the advanced section, here's the testing. And that's also on the doctor's side too. And then also we have in the advanced testing is the blood portal too.
I want to make another comment here. And every single, we're going to click on a few of these.
The blood is in the advanced, right, Warren?
Yep,
okay.
Advanced testing. In every single area, I probably shot 20 videos or training portals. If there's any problem about this section or need help, there's a video that walks the patient through all the questions they maybe possibly would have had on that section. So let's open up, another good one to open up is the neurotoxic questionnaire. Let's open up the neurotoxic questionnaire real fast. This is digitized so that it gives the doctor the information. So it's all digital. So scroll down. It's all digital, and it will calculate and give the doctor a number of the neurotoxic questionnaire. It's another kind of evaluation that they'll take every time they go through an appointment to track their progress, and it's also a great screening tool when you're bringing someone into TCD. You can also have a printout version that's on the doctor portal that converts them when you're just meeting with them for the first time. They got to know that they have a problem. So that's really powerful, and that's automated. Go back to your program. Wow, you're good at this. He already knows. He's already clicking. And click on like the second in the main section. Click on like the second video. The second one down in the orange section.
Down here.
Got it? See, Jerry. Is
Which
Jerry
one?
Catola here? So how do you like the colors on our branding?
Which one, Warren?
Smart, right? So in each section, how True Cellular Detox works. This is an example of the video. I mean, it's all really, really, really well done. Obviously, shot in
And then
NBC
here,
studios.
over here, we have related articles to whatever's going on here. So, and we'll show you this. There's a whole article built out. Yeah, I mean, you can see the quality of the video.
Scroll down.
Scroll.
Again. Well, not zoom in. Was that you? Just kidding.
No, it's,
I know. Scroll down a little bit. They have to take a test to break through each section, so they have to unlock the next video. They have to get the correct answer.
and they get an email after each video is complete as well.
Yeah,
So-
there's email sequence. All the emails, like you want to do email follow-ups with your patients, as soon as they log in and you give them the code, it's a $3,000 program, they get a code, whatever you want to sell it for, you have to sell it to make profit. The videos, the training, doctor training portal does that. But as soon as they put that in and get access, they're already getting follow-up emails. And every single time they complete a section, they get more follow-up emails. So it's pushing them through the system and holding them accountable. It's really, really good.
People like that, because that's part of the education, is what they're learning, and they want to learn. Remember, though, it had to be as simple as taking 2 simple packs a day.
And there's some texting that occurs
Had
as
to be
well.
that
Yes,
simple.
and they also, when they finish, they get a certificate.
Yeah, it's proven to work.
Emailed
You
to
know,
them.
It really is. It's proven.
They can
to work.
download they can also download it, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
Go to the very bottom, and the discussion and social is where they have their online community. So when we have we just launched this program in 2 months. We already have over 300 people in it. So you can see that the need's there. I mean, who's using it? Give me some patient feedback. Who has some patient feedback that's gone through this already? Go ahead. What does the patient say? Never even asked you. I'm putting my life on the line right now. Thank God.
She's only had good things to say about it. She's just in the prep phase, but even with that, I mean, she's talking about she's probably down almost 8 pounds now. She loves the videos, loves the education. This is something we didn't even know ahead of time, but the only way she was ever to go to the bathroom is to basically take something to make her go, and she's like, and for the last 17 years, and by the second week, no, okay, I'm wrong. Fourth day on, she's like, it was the biggest surprise to me ever, and I'm telling everybody, I don't know if this is weird, but I get to go to the bathroom on my own. You know, energy's better, sleep is better, complexion's better. I mean, she's loving every minute of it. So I mean, it's been very positive, and it's great because I don't have to do anything to tell her what to do or to explain it, because it's all done on that website.
Yeah, that's the point.
I think a concern too that's out there is what sort of education's on there, and that just speaks to that and the fact that it's in the website and it makes it so much easier. So, very positive.
And by the way, there's some testimonies of doctors. I got another one today, a Voxer, and I won't play it because I'm having some trouble with my Voxer, but he said, man, we are selling these programs like crazy. And some of you could testify to that as well. So how they're doing it, folks, yes, it'll just sell from your waiting rooms because of what we have built out. But if you had a goal, and you'll see a pro forma later of just putting 20 people in, right, David? That was the number in your pro forma? 20 people a month?
5 people a month, $76,000 a year profit.
And what about 20? Because that was the other part.
$360,000.
So, yeah, so putting 20 people a month in is almost $400,000, you know, of income. By the way, here's why that's important, okay? Because it's residual. It builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. But here's the most important part. You don't have to do it. You're not doing appointments. It's doing it for you. The people are coming in, they get educated, they get excited about the products, they want to continue brain phases. You know, they want to, you know, do a vitality phase. So, you know, that's the point, is it's done for you.
Yeah, cellular healing, I've talked to you in the past, and many of you in this room, it's like, I just can't do that full big program. I don't have time for that. I'm doing this, I'm a mom. I just don't want that. Now you can. So you have to do True Cellular Detox and make it a difference today. That's what I believe.
So
go back to the site real fast.
portal.
Go to the bottom. Where's the bottom section? Right there. Up a little bit more. We'll end with this part.
These are all the articles that they have access to.
A little bit more.
That they're generic articles about every topic, heavy metals. There's the articles that I wrote for the program, explaining the True Cellular Detox program. And of course, there's an article on HR, thyroid, diabetes, and all types of other articles of interest. So it's loaded up.
It's all TCD branded.
This is important. There's the 90-day meal plan for them.
Go ahead and click on that.
Click on that. Thank you, Meredith.
We didn't know Meredith was a rock star on video. She never shot video before for us. We had this shoot date. We got some talent. She got sick. On the first day, she couldn't show up, so we had the talent come on the second day. We just brought Meredith in, and she crushed it. I mean, absolutely crushed it. So now we know it's one of our gifts. We were talking on the plane, what her gifting, her strength finder, right? Dr. Jones is communicating this message to the world. She's incredible. You download it. There's a video of how to go through it. She explains it. Obviously, in every section, need help with the meal plan, there's a video. And guess who that one is? That's Meredith, not me. I don't like to do that. TCD roadmap, click on that. So when Dr. Pompa is training your client or your patient, he's literally telling them, get out your roadmap, and he's teaching them what True Cellular Detox is. He's doing this because they have to understand why so they can make a difference and tell people. You can't just say, hey, take this supplement. They need to know why they're taking it, what it's going to do, and it's simple enough using the True Cellular Detox roadmap.
This is the food pyramid, and then go back to
They love pyramids. They
the
do.
smoothies.
It's called culture code.
That's
I'll
what
tell you
people
about
love the most.
And then the TCD smoothies.
So
that's we could sit up here for literally 2 hours and go through that, but I'm going to make it really easy for you guys so you can go try it for yourself. Instead of, pull out your papers right now real fast for me, these ones that are laying around, because we really don't have time to go through it. I could give you, I probably have 20 testimonies already of this program transforming doctors' offices. I had one the other day, a doctor wrote me. He's from Utah. And he goes, Warren, first of all, he watched me on Cellular Healing TV. He was mad that I wasn't a chiropractor and talking the chiropractic philosophy. That's what he said. I used to essentially judge you. And then he's like, you won me over, and you live the philosophy better than most chiropractors in the world, and I just want to write a special thank you to you because I was financially challenged. I heard about you at you and your and Dan's program at CalJam. I went to your event. I couldn't know how I could afford, but I went to Atlanta. To our Atlanta event. He started this program. He gave it his all, and it's literally transformed his life and his practice. He says, I finally found what I'm called to do. I'm 100% certain what I'm called to do. I'm finding the success that I've never had. I'm so thankful. I don't know how I guys can repay you. Just let me know if there's anything I can ever do for you. I mean, we're getting Voxes every day. We're getting this. And this is like the first try. Who wants to throw up and hit a home run on the first time you play baseball? Like, I've never seen that before. So I'm in awe. Systemic formulas with the boxes and all the hard work they put in, all the resources, what they've dumped into this in the marketing side, and the investment they've made. I think I don't even want to know, but I'm going to guess it's several $100,000 to even make this possible, maybe closer to $1 million. All these things aligning, the machine showing up the same day that Dan and I decided there's no way this is going to work in bottles. We need packets. We'd have literally delayed the program to wait for the packets. He came the same day. To make it easy, all the marketing materials in this option, the 24 posters, the color, we have flyers, they are done. I'll show you some more of that stuff tomorrow. A USB with the marketing materials on it and with the videos that you can play in your waiting room or on your TV.